Pebs.
friend.
How
Oh
you
my
doing?
God. It's so great to talk to you. I know at some point this is going to go off the rails, but
Yep. Mm-hmm.
so I got to start with, the more serious questions in the beginning. But I wanted to know, so you were born and raised in Boston.
Yep.
And so tell me what your life was like growing up and what effect Boston had on you personally and also in what you do.
Boston. Well, I was born in Boston and raised like south of Boston.
Okay.
So on the South Shore. But the interesting thing, which I'll just dive into, is being adopted.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is white. My dad was Jamaican black. And so it was definitely interesting,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least. It's almost like I fit into a weird pocket where you were almost too white to be chill with the black folk and too black to be chill with the white folk. So I just had to like create my own pocket to be in. But yeah, I mean, Boston's an interesting place where everyone's kind of calling it like such a racist city now.
Mm-hmm.
And so like there's some of that and then there's some not. So I feel like being raised how I was and where I was, I got to see both sides of it.
You got everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
What I feel like I could almost imagine it already, but I'm curious what kind of kid you were. I feel like all you were was just smaller.
Yep. Pretty much. Like I all I know is that my sister used to always tell me, because my sister wants nothing to do with, like, she'll throw up if you make her speak in front of 5 people. Oh. So like she always would tell me that I was the exact opposite of that. She was like, you would see a room and you just wanted to be the center of it. And you would do whatever it took to like get a squeal or a laugh out of somebody. And I was like, all right, that feels right.
You do really light up when you're in front of people and you get to entertain. And you've always been like that?
Yeah, I love it. The one thing I keep telling people is that I think it's a true gift to be able to make someone so happy that involuntarily noise shoots from their face. Like you have to think, like someone just made you so happy you laughed. You didn't mean to laugh, it just kind of happened. Right. So I think it's a gift to be able to have that power over someone. And I just love it. You can change someone's day that way. It's kind of dope. It's corny, but it's dope.
It really is. I mean, and it really is a gift to be able to do that. It really is. So what did little Brian want to be when you were growing up?
I super, which is funny where I'm at right now. I super wanted to be an actor. Just because I liked playing like roles. And I did that as a kid. Like I was always somebody else or something else and like playing around and like, kids playing Batman, this, that, the other. So I was doing that a ton. So I always wanted to be an actor, but so many people told me like, that's not a lot of people get successful in that. So somehow I kind of just got deterred from it because of that, for whatever reason. But adult me was like, man, that was dumb. Why did you do it?
But I mean, and we'll get into this later, a lot of what you do is acting too. So yeah. Even though you may not have like a traditional role in acting, you definitely still have acting involved in what you do. So yeah. Well, let's fast forward to being an adult. Although are we really?
Quote.
An adult. What led you to your career in radio?
So I went to school for sports broadcasting, which I loved, but I realized a lot of it was more reporting than entertainment. And it was like a lot of stats and research and stuff. And while I loved it, I also didn't want to make sports my job because I loved being just a fan. So a part of me was like, I want to find something with more entertainment involved. And I kind of fell backwards. I was working at Boston Medical Center in accounting, which I had no business doing.
Really?
Yeah, I had no business there. I'm terrible at math, so I don't know what was going on. But a friend from college had a small radio station in Brockton, and I went and worked for her for a little while, and then just slowly started building like, street team stuff, then on-air stuff. and continue on. And I'll shout out Jackson Blue, my guy,
Yes.
who was the first one who kind of twisted my arm to be like, you want to do like on air stuff? You want to do like entertainment? And I was like, well, I don't want to keep handing out CDs. I'll tell you that much. Like, so yeah, it just kind of.
So he helped you out and kind of
oh yeah,
worked with you on, yeah, Jackson's great on our sister station, the country station. Like, so I remember when you were here on the street team, the best street team ever. You all were
no
amazing.
No doubt.
Did you know at that point that you were going to be, remember you did the backup dancing for me when we did the LL Cool J.
Yeah. Someday I hope I'm famous enough that resurfaces.
Oh man, that was amazing. I loved you all for doing that. But when you were here on the street team, obviously you knew, were you thinking about comedy at that time?
Not per se. Like until recently, I thought I was just funny to like friends or people who understood me and whatever. I never thought I would be funny to like strangers or whatever. I just had fun having fun, if that makes sense. It sounds stupid, but that's it. I just like to have fun.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, oh, how do I turn this into a career? It was just like, this is just who you were.
Yeah.
And it really is who you are. You know, and then you ended up at another local station where you were on the air there for a while. What were you at that time learning about yourself and what you wanted to do while you were there?
So if I'm going to be frank, I never thought I would actually be on air in Boston. So especially even, never mind Boston, just like a top 10 market to be speaking to the city like that was dope. And I never thought that would happen. So when I got hired, I literally like, I called my wife. I was like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. Well, girlfriend at the time. And told her. And then as I was driving home, I just bust into tears and was like, what? I don't even understand why this is happening. But it was because I knew like the work and the other stuff. And it was a thing I thought never would happen. So once it happened, I kind of said, you know what else can happen? And so I right from the jump, I started, I took DJ classes, which now I have a DJ business.
Yeah.
And then I took improv classes just for funsies. And and then a year later, I'm doing an improv show in front of a sold out audience. And it was that show where, and I don't mean to drag this out, but this explains the exact feeling of it. Is right before the show, I was terrified. Like there was just like knots, everything, like normal stuff. Before you go on, you're doing something new. And I had written 3 sketches that were featured in the show. And one of them was the cold open. And I started that sketch, me alone, under a spotlight in the middle of the stage. So right before it, I'm like, I regret doing this. But the difference was I'm looking at the crowd, waiting for my moment to walk out. I walk out and I'm standing there and I can feel the weight of everyone looking at me. And all of a sudden, like the lights came on, the spotlight hit, and it all just like went away.
Really?
And all of a sudden it was just like, boom, you're on. And I just went through it. And it was almost like if you were like high, like I can't even explain, like I left somewhere. And then when it was over, I was like, oh, I need this. Like, I need to keep doing things like this. This is what it is. And so that definitely was the kind of pivot to, oh, so comedy is a thing that I can.
Yeah. I need to do more of this.
Yeah, it was insane. I can't even ever tell anyone what that felt like. It just felt out of body.
Wow, that's incredible. And then here comes 2020, the pandemic. You lose your job. You can't DJ because of COVID restrictions. What was going through your mind at that point? Because it sounds like you were just getting into a groove of what you loved.
So it was terrible at first. Like I'll say the first 6 months of 2020 was the worst 6 months I've lived, period. And it was difficult. It was hard. It felt like everything was just kind of in an instant just ripped out from under me. And especially you put years into getting there, and all of a sudden you're like, all right, well, now that's gone.
Right.
And I mainly felt bad because I thought that it was right after getting married, it was turning me into like a failure of a husband because I
Oh.
had no job, I wasn't making money. So all this like kind of guilt seeped in. And one day I just went for a walk because that's all we could do. And so I went for a walk. I pulled up to the place. It was like this park. And then again, I cried. I'm an emotional fella. So whatever.
I love it.
So like, just like, and then just kind of sucked it up and was like, I'm going to go on this walk and I'm going to figure it out. And I did. I sat and just like stared at a lake for a while. And I was like, you know what? There's other stuff. I'm going to find it. And so I went home and then just made TikToks and just was like, somewhere I'm going to find something. I just got to keep doing stuff.
Right.
And eventually something will click. And that was just the mindset. I was like, I refuse to let this moment define anything I'm doing because I already done stuff I didn't expect. So I'm going to keep pushing it.
Wow. So then talk a little bit about the whole getting into TikTok. Like, what were your very first ones? Were they all completely awful? But you were making your way and figuring it out.
When I started it, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even understand what it was about. But the station I was working for was trying to push because they were targeting a younger audience. So they were like, let's see if we can hop on TikTok and see if we can grab some people and just make waves that way too. And so being a part-timer, I was like, well, I'm going to figure this TikTok thing out. And they're going to need to pay me more money for my expertise. Right. So as I'm figuring it out, then the station's gone. And I was like, you know what? I learned how to write sketches in this comedy class, in this year of improv and stuff. Let's see if I can make 1-minute sketches and just for me, for fun, to like practice them and see if I can make them better and put it out there. I put one out and I wouldn't say it went like viral, but it got like attention. I went, oh, okay, this is pretty good. And the first few I thought were terrible. And I was so judgmental of them. I was picking them apart, but forced myself to post them anyway. And almost like the first 3 or 4 went viral. And I was like, wow, okay. And
what were the first ones you did? Were they the current ones that you're doing now about millennials?
So the first one that went viral was a dance video with me and my wife.
Yes.
Which dancing is not my lane. It's hers. She's a professional dancer. It is not mine. So when that one went viral, I was like, all right, well, I ain't doing this for y'all. Like, this is not going to continue. So the first one was just based off of Gen Z comments I got. And so I was like, I'm just going to make fun of these people that are like commenting all this like hate and whatever. I'm just going to make a joke about it. And the timing was perfect because a ton of millennials were jumping on to TikTok. So at the same time, other millennials were experiencing the same thing. So they were like, yup, exactly this. So that one went. And then I made 2020 an evil villain. And that one took off. So I was like, okay, I guess I can make this like a series because people would ask for those characters again. And I didn't even think of it in that way. They were just like, when do we get to see the generational people again? When do we get to see the years again? When do we get to see the Disney princes again? So I was like, all right, I guess I'm making like small, like streamable 1-minute episodes of things. And it turned into something I didn't think it would.
Right. And then people are, what is it? You know, I'm new. I do have a TikTok account, but I don't know what I'm doing. So is it called Stitch or duets, or when other people do what you're doing?
It's if people want to, duets is like where you would do a video next to this other one.
Yes.
And Stitch is like a part of someone's video, and then
you jump in.
And do your own thing.
And a lot of people were duetting your dance video.
Yeah, that's what made it pretty big, is because a ton of people were like, yeah, we got our own millennial TikTok dances. And so they all did them. And I was like, this is dope. And the funniest part of that story too is Sarah, my wife, and you know Sarah.
Yep.
She, off the top, when we came up with this idea, was like, yo, this is going viral. And I was like, girl, honey, that's not how this works. What's wrong with you? And then hours later, it had like 100,000 likes. And I was like, all right, you got that. You got
And
that.
you've learned never to doubt her.
Not again.
Yep.
Not again.
Well, let's talk about your wife, Sarah. I just adore her. She's incredible. And she's a teacher. She's been going through the pandemic as well, trying to teach kids virtually. And then you're home. This has had to be a tough time for both of you. How did she manage with teaching, and how was it for the two of you trying to kind of build these new lanes?
It was definitely hard. The hardest part is we have this tiny apartment, which we're moving out of soon for a house. So yes. But this tiny little apartment, and it was hard because she had to teach for half the day. So then I had to move anything I was doing to later in the day. So then she couldn't be interfering with me doing video. So we had to keep leaving and like getting out of each other's way. So it was weird and difficult, but I will say somehow we got like cooler and closer. It's almost like, not that we weren't friends before, but like, it was like we suddenly became like best friends along with being like married to each other. So it was like, we learned. And one thing that I'm forever going to hold against her is I go, what did you learn like in this pandemic? And she goes, that you're funny. And I was like, then what were you doing the last 7 years? Like those were fake laughs? Like what was happening?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
But we definitely learned stuff about each other, and it was hard, but like we kind of leveled each other up and kind of pushed each other to keep doing stuff.
How does she like being on your videos? Because I know my name is Sarah.
Yeah, she hates them. I tried to put her in some sketches, and she panics because she's like, I can't act like you can. Like, I can't do it. Stop it. So I was like, all right, I won't put you in them anymore. But I did do the prank videos of hello, my name is Sarah. She hated them every time. But then afterwards, she like thought they were funny. So
her reactions are hysterical.
Oh yeah.
So it's good she doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And speaking of being married, and so I was honored to be at your wedding, and let me tell you, that was one of the greatest weddings I've ever been to in my entire life. And I'm not a wedding person, and not just because there were tequila shots on the table.
Amen.
But you know, the thing was, I feel like your actual ceremony was one of the best I've ever seen, because we were able to basically live your entire story. Tell me how you guys decided, and it was a friend of yours that performed the ceremony.
So I have two like really, 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 really close friends. I have three that are like the people. And so one of them, I was like, you're going to be the best man. And we left my other friend out and figuring he'd feel some sort of way. And I was like, oh, by the way, we need you to officiate it. And he was like, what? and he's like such a great speaker and writer. So I knew that he would kill it. And I had just officiated his brother's wedding a couple years ago. And what I did was I sat down and I was like, tell me everything so I can get an idea. And he took that same idea and he made us sit down. He knew most of it, but like you could get more details, this, that. And he like expounded on it and made it like so much more than what we expected, and found a way to add like little touches and little things to make it so much more like special. We watched the video and still it's amazing how he captured all of that in one speech.
Oh, it was so incredible. I tell people about that all the time. I'm like, that was one of the greatest wedding ceremonies I've had. That was like royal wedding ceremony to me. It was so great.
I mean, hey, champagne taste in a beer pocket. We tried to pull it off. So
I love it. Well, you now have over 1 million followers on TikTok, which is mind-blowing. Because as you were going along, I kept watching and I'm like, oh my God, Brian's like really blowing up here. Like, what was it like when you finally hit 1 million?
Crazy. I think that was where the reality of 1 million people, 1 million accounts, like know of you and enjoy what you bring. And I think that's the biggest part of it. And I like, not for a second do I not realize that, like, what that means is that's a lot of people, and I owe them a lot for a year that was terrible to me. In large part, they kind of kept me out of, like, everybody's discussing mental health now, which is amazing, and that was my escape from diving down the wrong holes and falling into the wrong places. So I am forever grateful to every one of those million people and what that means. But it's bananas. I can't even mentally process it.
Now, there are a lot of people I know who have not had really positive experiences on TikTok. How have you avoided that, or have you, and just kind of been able to navigate it?
The biggest thing for me is me and Sarah had one horrible weekend. And this was actually the same weekend I lost my job, which added to things. We posted, it was just after the George Floyd situation. And we had posted, it was a video of like, put a finger down if you've experienced this situation. It was a white privilege video. So it was me and her. And obviously I'm putting all these fingers down for like racist things that have happened, and she's not. And somehow the wrong person got a hold of it. And it was a white dude that was like a big guy. And he was like, oh, I proved you wrong. Like, you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. And his video was like super hateful. And then a ton of people that followed him just like kind of cycled through and came back to ours. And they were saying like, oh, this guy just beats his wife. That's why she didn't put a finger down. He took, and just horrible things to the point where it was a weird array of emotions, I guess, where at first I was mad, and then I was trying to keep Sarah from it. And I was like, don't look at those comments at all. I'll handle it. Don't touch them. And then she got in. She was like, why don't you just go? But
Sarah don't play.
So through that, I just kind of realized that there is always going to be some hate somewhere, and you can't just, so not everyone's going to love the stuff you do. And I think that was the real punch in the teeth of like, they're not worth my time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've tried to keep my content from there on out. Not that I don't find these situations like a George Floyd situation important, but finding a more fun and digestible way of presenting it where someone won't be as aggressively offended, but still can see your point. Because now I get a lot more comments that like, I don't like that you voted for Joe Biden, but I like what you do and I respect it. So now I'm getting that turn where you can present it differently and avoid some of that nastiness and keep those people away.
Right. And then you also were, I don't know what it's called, but where TikTok kind of started sending you things like what?
Yeah.
What?
I guess,
how did that happen?
So I think you have to be nominated for this. So I think someone nominated me for hashtag Black TikTok, which is a program they had. And a lot of people complain about TikTok saying that they're suppressing Black creators and whatever.
Yep.
I don't believe this to be true whatsoever, in part, mainly because I've been a part of these meetings from being a part of Black TikTok, where they actively have Zoom meetings with people who work for the company, people who are trying to find ways to help, the LGBTQ plus community, Latino communities, Black community, and help those creators do what they do and be creative. So those meetings are great, and they do not shy away from people telling them what they think. So having gone to some of them, I was like, there's no way they're accepting this and suppressing views of stuff. But I think that's how I ended up. I think there's a nomination thing, like other creators nominate you to be in this. And somehow I got in that, and they sent me stuff, and they've been oddly sending me things since, which I'm not going to give back.
Right.
But it's kind of, and I entered another program that they were doing, and when you do well, they send you stuff. So it's pretty dope.
Well, while all of this is happening with you professionally, you also had some major things happening for you personally that you posted about, one about your mother and one about some DNA results that you got. So whatever you would like to share about that.
So a while ago I had done Ancestry because, as I said, I'm adopted. I did my Ancestry just to see like what's making me tick in here. And I didn't really check it a ton after I just saw the results. And then I think it was the end of January, and I got an email that said I had a message from someone. So I went to just check the message on Ancestry. I was like, wow, whatever, I'll look at it. I'm bored. And it also said, hey, new DNA matches. So I looked and it said, what was it? Parent child. And my first thought was, oh my God, I have a kid? Like, what? There is like, no way.
What am I going to tell Sarah?
Yeah. And then I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And I looked and it was my birth mom. So I was the kid. And so I just sent her a message that night and I was like, hey, so what are the chances that maybe like 33 years ago you might have gave up a little handsome fella for adoption? And the next day she was like, yup, that's me and that's you. And she actually discovered the match in August of 2020. And she said to me that she obviously social media stalked me. And she was like, I saw that your life looked good. You seemed happy and you were around great people. And I was okay with that. And I didn't feel the right to insert myself into your life. So if you found these results and you wanted to reach out, I figured you would. And if you did, you did. If you didn't, you didn't. But I was happy to know you had like a good situation. And I was like, oh, that's all right. That's dope. But here I am.
How did you feel about that she did that for you, that let you be the one to reach out?
The way I see it is a lot of people keep telling me that it can go a lot of ways for people who are adopted and how they meet their parents, whatever. I can safely say I think this is the absolute best way it could have turned out, because she's very respectful of the fact that I've now lived 33 years in a different way, but also is interested obviously in how I've been and what I've been up to, and stressing that like I never forgot about you. I just was trying to give you something better than what at the time I was able to provide, and which is absolutely respectable. So through it all, we've chatted often, and she's great. I have a ton of sisters that I didn't know. So
wow. How did your family respond to this?
Well, my mom, straight up, I told her and I said, oh, hey, I need to tell you something. My birth mom found me. And she just went, oh, okay. And then immediately like dropped everything and sat down. She goes, tell me. And so we just talked about it. And she goes, well, I am thrilled. If you're happy about it, I'm happy about it. And maybe one day we'll meet, whatever. And there was no emotion. And then she goes, if I could say anything to her, I would just want to thank her. And I was like, Ma, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Stop. Wow. But I cannot complain with the process at all. And I had never really looked either. So this kind of just fell into my lap, and I don't know, it just, it has worked out as the best way you could imagine.
Boy, it seems like so many things in your life just happen when they're supposed to, and in their own time. And wow,
it is crazy.
And then your mother was sick for a little while.
So she actually, and you know how old people be, you know how parents be, like she was sick for like a week, and I kept telling her, well, we need to call a doctor and see what's up. Like there's a pandemic going around, Donna. Like, so she didn't. And then eventually she called me one day and she was like, I think you might need to call 911. And I was like, girl, what? And so we called, she was in the hospital, and what it was pneumonia. And then it just kind of snowballed into a bunch of other things. And one day they called me and she was in the ICU, and they were like, asking us all these decisions to make on certain surgeries and
Oh,
whatever. And there was a literal point where it was essentially, you have to do this surgery and it's not gonna, there's a good chance she doesn't make it through. But if we don't do it, she's not making it through.
oh my
So
God.
we had like a 4-day period of this chaos, and then did the surgery, and they were like, honestly, it worked perfect. And it's a miracle that it went that well. And now she's at home and Jim Dandy fine. Like, she's doing good.
Oh my gosh. So as you're going through all of this stuff, are you still creating content, or how are you handling that?
So obviously that's a lot, because this all happened in a 2-week period. Like,
Mm-hmm.
birth, mother, my mom going to the hospital, like in a 2-week period. And there was a day when they called to tell me my mom was rushed to the ICU and that she was intubated and all this stuff. I called Sarah and I was like, I don't know what to do. What do we do? And she was like, I'm coming home, blah, blah, blah. She came rushing in. And by the time she got home, I was just standing in the living room. I was like, I'm just going to finish the TikToks I was doing. And she was like, are you okay? Are you sure? And I was like, honestly, this is what makes me feel better. Like, this is what kind of removes me from it and keeps me balanced. I need to do it. I need to just create something and know that even though I'm going through some stuff, I can create something that if someone else is going through some stuff, I can make them feel better, and that makes me feel better.
Mm.
So somewhere in there, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to keep at it. And she was like, you're insane, but I support it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so glad that Donna is okay.
Oh, she's more than okay. She's giving me orders again. It's fully normal.
I love it. So now as things are starting to open back up, are you DJing? Are you going to will you continue to do virtual things, or do you want to get back in front of audiences?
I definitely want to get out and DJ again.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing virtual stand-up shows because a few comedians were like, dude, you are a comedian. That's what you're doing with your videos. And all you have to do is transfer that into a different kind of style and do stand-up. So I'm probably going to try that, which I was going to try before, and the pandemic was like, nah, fam. And so that, and definitely some stuff in front of live audiences, because there's a different energy there, which
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. But I also, now circling back, am really pushing, trying to get acting going, trying to get like an acting career off the ground, which
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to some people and they believe that I can do some stuff. So they're trying to help lead me in that direction. And Miss Leslie Jones.
Yep. Producer Leroy just was like, don't forget to ask this. And I forgot I had it on. What? Okay, let me hear it.
So I'm just sitting, living my regular life.
Oh.
And the funny thing is, she messaged me on a Sunday. I answered on a Tuesday.
No, you
which
didn't.
Is like, so I saw the message and I was like, who? Just like off the top, I was like, Leslie Jones, I know that name, because her picture wasn't her. And I was like, I know that name. What is it? And I opened it. I was like, oh my God, that's Leslie.
Like
Jones.
the Leslie Jones.
Yeah. And she was like, bro, are you getting my messages? I'm trying to tell you that you're hilarious. And I was like, oh my God, I need to respond now. So I messaged her back and thanked her, whatever. And if someone like Leslie, if you're trying to do what she's doing and she's in your DMs, you have to ask, what advice do you have?
Yes.
What should I be doing? So I did. I took a shot in the dark, didn't know if she'd answer. She answered back fully, like with a long paragraph. She was like, honestly, anyone who can grind in a pandemic is already doing more than most people. And she was like super encouraging. And she was like, you have to understand that you need stamina in this industry. It's not about one video, one movie, one show. It's a career. And if you can keep up with that, you're already on your way, and I see good things for you. And I was like, that's crazy. And then she also ended with, she went through some of the good things that are in my videos. So clearly she was watching them for real, for real.
Oh my God.
And then at the end, which like blew my mind, she said, so listen, you are doing great. And the reason I wanted to reach out was to tell you that as things are opening up and whatever, I'm gonna get more opportunities to be an executive producer for stuff, and I just want you to know I'm watching you and putting your name out there. And I was like, girl, what? What? So first off, I was like, you are the nicest person ever, just to even take the time to give someone advice and take the time to listen and go back and forth. Because she was in the thick of doing Coming America 2 and that coming out. So like, to take the time and do that is amazing. But to have her say those things at the end, I thought I had motivation before, just because I naturally just have goals and dreams and want to chase them. But that was different. To see someone who's doing it think you can do it,
right,
was mind-blowing. So I am all in on everything.
That is so incredible. I'm so excited for you.
It was crazy. Wow. Absolutely crazy.
And she started doing something. I don't remember her doing this before. Maybe she did, but when she was recording TVs and things she was watching, I think she had done it before with the Olympics, but she really started doing it for a lot of things during the pandemic, where she was like narrating it. It was hilarious.
And she for me is someone that has always been a motivation to me, because I always saw it as, when I was doing street team, it was all 18-year-olds and I was 26. So I always felt like I got in the game late. Like, there's no chance I can do anything for real. But she got on SNL, I think, 45, 50, something like that.
She's in her 50s, yeah.
Yeah, so she got a break late. And so she's the perfect example of just keep at it.
Yep.
Like, just keep going and eventually something's going to happen. So I was like, well, I'm actually only 33. I should stop acting like I'm so old. Like,
so you young 33-year-olds.
So it definitely was one of the craziest and most encouraging, motivating moments I've ever lived. Ever.
Wow. So you started telling me about you want to get into clubs. What's next for you?
I think next is definitely, I don't necessarily love doing the big clubs, which sounds kind of weird, but I like doing the smaller things, the local things, because you get to interact with your crowd more. And that's what I really love about it. I don't want to get into the politics of DJing and the politics of promoters and trying to please promoters and whatever. I want to go to a place where I can just mix music. People can come up, we can talk, we can chat, whatever. Don't make crazy requests, but we can have fun, and I can directly like feed off you and you can feed off me. It's much more rewarding than I think standing in front of a massive crowd just jumping around and doing whatever. Like, that's dope. And don't get me wrong, if someone wants me to do it, I'm in.
Right.
But I like my little local thing, just for DJ wise, just because that's the thing I like most about it. So I want to keep it there, I think.
So you are one of the DJs who loves or hates like the dances, like the Cupid Shuffle and...
Well, I like doing them. I'm not gonna lie. I like doing them. But when people are like, "Oh, can you play? What is it? It's not the Cupid Shuffle. It's some other one.
The Electric Slide.
Whatever it is.
Dance.
It's all of those. And I'm always like, no, I don't. No, we're not doing that here. Like, this isn't a wedding. Like, other people came out, and I've had like older folks come up. And they're like, can you play something from the 70s? And I'm like, you are the only person who will know what that song is. Like, I got a job to do here. I can't play that.
Oh, man, I love it. So, wow, I feel like I could sit here and talk to you forever, but where can people find you? I know you're everywhere. So if people want to get in touch.
At BMo the Prince, BMo the Prince, which is such a, like, I still feel like that's such a weird name to have, but whatever.
I remember when you were working up different names. I loved it.
Well, it came from, BMO came from an internship I did in college, where a weekend reporter from 7 News was like, I asked him, how can I be better? And he goes, just give everyone more BMO. I was like, bro, did you just give me a nickname? And he was like, looks like it. And so then my friends kind of jumped on it. And in high school, everyone said I acted like Will Smith in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So
Mhm.
everyone called me either Prince or Fresh Prince. So I just, at one point, I was like, I want to combine just the two worlds of me as a professional and me as the idiot and put them together. And that's kind of where it came from. But I still feel like it's weird.
And you also have a lot of since we're mentioning BMo the Prince, so it's bmotheprince.com, and you have a lot of merchandise that you have out there. The t-shirts, they're hilarious. Do you come up with everything for them?
Yes, but a lot of times it's just based off a TikTok that I did, and people in the comments will straight up be like, I need this on a shirt. I need this on a shirt. So I'm like, got you, girl. I need a paycheck. So, but the last one I did, vaccinations and vacations, was just a group chat with me and my friends. The dude who officiated my wedding, I was like, you know, all I care about this year is vaccinations and vacations, baby. I need it. And he goes, you need to put that on a t-shirt now. He was like, I will buy one. And so I made a whole sketch just off of that phrase, just so I could tell people there's a shirt for this.
I will be buying one of those right after we finish. Okay, so is all your social media BMo the Prince?
Yes, at BMo the Prince, BMo the Prince. I think, yeah, across all things. It's unique, so I got all the domains before, all the usernames before.
You didn't have to put _1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Oh, God, the worst.
Oh, man. All right. Well, anything else that you wanted to say? Well, let me just say, first of all, you know, having, you know, known you since you worked here at Hot, just watching your growth has been, it's been so exciting and inspiring, and I'm so happy for you. I really, really am. And I'm really proud of you. Leroy, come here. Because I know Leroy got words for you too. Leroy's more of a preacher than I am, so he usually has better words.
No. I think while I was sitting over there listening, yes, you are very, very, very inspiring. I'm proud of you. And it's just good to see a brother, another person of color, being successful, especially from Boston, because we know how hard it is. Look at this trio. Look at this Trinity right here.
Yeah.
Look at this. The Boston Trinity.
Let's go.
It's just good to see, man. So I'm following, I'm watching, and I love the example that you're setting. So keep up the good work.
And to that point, I love the fact that I don't see a ton of major creators on TikTok of color. And I don't lose sight of that too, because I know that can be an example. And that also is a very big driving force to know, like, you know what? I got a weird background. I can cover a lot of things, and representation matters. It matters. Like, I cried at the end of Black Panther just because I was like, Black people got a superhero now.
Right. Like, a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. So I was like, that stuff matters. And so that is definitely not lost on me. And to you, Pebs, I'm going to say something, is that as a street teamer, I mentioned Jackson, you and Deirdre as well are two of the other people that, in a world where I was unaware that I could do entertainment, like for real, as like a job, you three are kind of like the holy trinity of people that definitely were like, no, you need to keep at it, and pushed me to a point where, similar to Leslie Jones, at the time when I was a street teamer, you was my Leslie Jones.
Oh no!
I was like, yo, it's Pabs. and that support, I'm not here without that from Jump Street. So I'm probably still doing, I don't know, I was working at grocery stores, doing whatever. I'm probably doing stuff like that still without that jump off of like, be confident in your ability because you can do something. So you also are a big part of what I've been able to do. And I will preach that till the day I die.
Thank you.
I will consistently mention your name in all of my credits.
And good luck when you get your house. At some point, you know, Leroy and I are going to come by for some tequila or something.
Oh, amen. You already know we got it flowing. We'll have it by April 10th. I will hit you up the 11th and let you know when.
All right, sounds well. I'm waiting to get my shots first, but
oh yeah, true. So am I. I realized all my friends are in the medical field and teachers, and they all got their shots, and I'm like, cool.
Right, I'm here.
No one cares about me. I'll figure it out.
Oh, well, thank you so much. This has been so great. And tell Sarah with an H I said hi.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much fun.